To introduce onto the stage, first of all, Esther O'Callaghan OBE, who is the head of the Opera Global Youth Foundation. So, a round of applause, please, for Esther.
So I'm not going to speak very long. I said it's always a nightmare when you've got dinners because you either have hangry people or really drunk people. So I won't speak for very long. I'm actually really proud of the Recruitment Network Partnership because James and myself are going to be embarking on an Ironman in less than 4 months' time. For those of you like me who didn't know what one was when I agreed to do it, it's a 3,800 metre open water swim, 180 kilometre bike ride and a full marathon in 15 hours and 40 minutes. So, it's just casual, sort of day out really. But it's particularly ridiculous for me to have done it because 7 months ago, I didn't know how to swim at all. So I spent the first 4 weeks with my head in the bath, with my head in the sink, with my head in a bowl. So I've just spent a lot of time with my head underwater going, what the hell am I signed up for? But the reason I'm doing it is not to prove that some ridiculous point, because I will almost definitely be last. If I even finish it, so we don't know yet, but it would be great to overtake James on the run, in fairness. But the reason that I'm doing it is because opera is all about what your industry can do for young people. So when I am up at 5 in the morning, feeling like I'm drowning, I have 71 million reasons for doing that. That's the number of young people who are unemployed, who will wake up tomorrow without work and without the means with which to earn their way out of poverty in all its forms. And I think young people are worth more than that. The reason I think that is because I was one of them, and there was a few people who were willing to believe in me, and opera's built, I guess, on that belief. And it's built on a belief in recruiters. I don't come from your world, but I think you take an absolute battering, and I think it's deeply unfair actually, because my experience is a lot of people who get up and work hard every day, who do a job that actually I'd be terrible at and wouldn't last 5 minutes probably. And you also uniquely sit in a space where you have an opportunity to create tens and tens of thousands of opportunities for young people who simply don't have them. So one of those is John, or was, and he's going to take over from me now before I start waffling because I'm so nervous. So John can rescue me.
Hello everyone. That's a good height, I like that. So my name is John Sterry, and just to give you a brief overview, I'm a young person that was supported by the Prince's Trust, which is a charity that opera is having a lot of engagement with at the moment, and will continue to as the organisation grows. And I'd like to share with you my story as to why I needed the charity in my life and how it supported me. So if I start as, when I was a child, I just finished year 6 of education, and I scored really, really great on my 11+, and I was lucky enough to be accepted into Dartford Grammar Boys School. And obviously I was really proud of myself at that point. I thought, I'm going to go into a school that's got great teachers, it's got great lessons, great people, and I'm going to learn a lot. And I thought it was really going to be a place that I could build my future. And at first, it was. For the first few months, I had absolutely no issues, really enjoyed my lessons and felt like I was getting everything I needed from education. And then one day, some of the students that I'd met and became friends with started to pick on me. And at first it was only the odd comment here and there. For example, I'd be getting changed for PE and a young person would say to me, "John, you're actually quite fat." Or, "John, your clothes are really trampy," or something else that they said, because my family wasn't as rich as theirs. And at first that was just the odd comment here and there, so I just brushed it off, went home, spoke to my parents, and my mum gave that sort of typical mum answer, which was, they're just kids, they're just jealous, just ignore them. So I went back to school and thought, okay, I'll do just that. But before long, it wasn't just that 1 or 2 comment anymore. It was 3, 4, 5, and then before long, it was every day of my life that I was receiving that kind of comment. And they started to pick on more things as well. So it wasn't just that I was fat anymore. It wasn't just that, you know, my clothes weren't as nice as anyone else's. It was, they started calling me gay. Because it was an all-boys school, they thought that it was so, you know, hard that I would potentially get a girlfriend that I must be gay. I mean, I don't think being gay is anything to be ashamed of anyway. I'm not, but if you are, that's fine. But that's what they would pick, you know, that's the mentality they had. And then they quickly realised as I grew up that my face used to go bright red whenever I was embarrassed. So what a perfect game for them to play. Then for every time I put my hand up in lesson, or every time I tried to contribute to a class discussion, they would use reverse psychology and say, "Don't go red, John," to make me go bright red. And then they would all point at me and laugh at me until I stopped talking. And then after that point, I would put my hand back down and I just wouldn't contribute to the lessons. And this kept progressing to the point where the friends that I had outside of school, they started to hear rumours about me spread by the people inside of school, because the people inside of school didn't want me to have any friends at all. And they started to drift away from me. And then this got to the point that around about year 11, when I was about 15 or 16, just going through puberty, just trying to work out who I want to be in life, I was actually locked in a classroom and forced to run laps of that classroom in front of everyone to help me lose weight. And if you imagine what that does to a young person that's at that age, that's trying to, you know, build a life for themselves, to have that kind of negativity and to have everyone laugh at you, my confidence just hit rock bottom and I felt like I was nothing, like I had no purpose. So for the next few years of education, leading into sixth form, I just simply stopped trying. I stopped putting my hands up in lesson, but it wasn't because I wasn't interested in the lesson, it was because I was afraid of what people were going to say to me and how they were going to make me feel. And every day I left school feeling like I was worth nothing, and every morning I woke up wondering why I'd woken up that morning and what am I going into school for. So that left me really demotivated to the point that I actually left school at the end of year 12 without finishing sixth form. And I told a lie to everyone and I said to them, I'm leaving because I want to join the police force. And to me, that was my defence, because I thought that's a respectable career choice that they won't laugh at me for and that I could leave without getting insults. But they quickly saw through that and I got many more insults. Around the time I actually joined sixth form, obviously when you go into sixth form, a lot of people leave the school to go to other sixth forms, and a lot of the bullies that I had come into contact with had left by that point. And I thought, do you know what, that's great. When the new people come into the school, you know, that's going to be my opportunity to start afresh, and these people are going to not judge me at all. But when the new people came in from these other schools and saw me and spoke to me, instantly they said the same thing to me that all of these other people have been saying all my life. And that was the moment where I thought, do you know what, I'm the problem. If this completely new group of people says the same thing, then it must be me that has the issue here. And that is what really drove me to leave. So when I did leave school, I was met with a head teacher that told me if I left now, I wouldn't become anything and I wouldn't have a future. And I just said, okay. And I left. And I was unemployed for 6 months, doing nothing but waking up, gaming on my Xbox and going back to sleep again and not really contributing anything to society. And that, before long, turned into depression, where I felt like I didn't have that purpose. By that point, my confidence was so low, I couldn't even go to a local shop and buy a carton of milk, couldn't answer the phone, couldn't order a taxi. How am I supposed to get a job if I can't do the things that you need to get that job? What was I supposed to do? No one was there to support me, other than my family, but that wasn't enough to get me out there, and I was lost. And then one day I received a letter through the post from the Prince's Trust, inviting me to a taster day for a team programme that they were running. And for those of you that don't know what the team programme is, it's a personal development programme which aims to help young people between the ages of 16 to 25 find employment, education and training. So I went along to this taster day, and I remember sitting down and watching this group of young people. There was maybe 10 or 11 of them on stage, and they were presenting to us about what they'd done over this 12-week programme. And I just remember watching them and how different they all looked from each other and how well they were getting on with each other. And I thought, do you know what? This is something that I want to be a part of, that I feel like I could succeed in if I did this. And the team leader, he said to me, hi, what's your name? And I told him, I said, I'm John. And he said, hi, I'm Dave. And he started trying to sell me the programme. And what he said was, let me guess. He said, you're probably doing nothing at the moment, but waking up, gaming, going back to sleep, struggling to find, where you want to be in life. I thought, yep, that's me. And then he said after that, he said, probably been unemployed about 6 months to a year. I was like, right again, Dave, right again. And he said, I can help you with that. And from that moment, I just said, Dave, sign me up. Do whatever you have to do. Don't let me get out of it. Just sign me up to this programme. And I remember on the first week of that programme, standing up in front of everyone and introducing myself, a room full of 15, 16 young people my age that I was scared of. And I introduced myself, and they said nothing. There was no negative comments. There was no insults. It was just silence. And I can't tell you how nice that was to hear. So when I sat down, I felt confident that this was somewhere that I wanted to be. So over the next coming weeks of the programme, we did a residential week away, and by that point, I was already confident enough that I wanted to be the first person up the rock climbing wall that we were climbing. I wanted to be the first person in the canoe. Now I'm scared of heights and I can't swim. So what does that tell you? You know, that was exactly that. And I felt so at home in this group that I just opened up and I could be myself for the first time in my life, and it felt brilliant. So when it came around to doing our community project, which was weeks 3, 4, 5 and 6, what the community project is an element of the programme where they say to you, you go out there and you make a difference to society. I was raring to go. I thought, this is my first ever project, I want to do this. And we decided to go and help out a youth centre that was, you know, for struggling young people in the area. And we fundraised for it ourselves, we did all the work ourselves, we bought the materials, and we renovated that youth centre so that they could have a better place to go and play. And that was such a rewarding experience that, you know, I'll take that with me for the rest of my life, I think. And looking at it now, that was my first chance at project management, so it helped out in my current job as well. But when it came to weeks 7 and 8, which were the work experience weeks, previously, as I said before, I could barely even go into a shop, but now I was going to be working in Argos. And I was geared up for it. I said, let's go. And I actually went there and was offered the job on the second day. I was offered a full-time job on the second day. And by that point, at the end of my 2-week placement, I turned down that job. But it wasn't because I didn't want to go into work. It's because I wanted to go and do something that I was passionate about. I thought, well, what am I passionate about? I'm passionate about helping people. And that's what I moved into, but we'll come to that later. So week 9 of the programme is when I learned all about CV techniques and interview skills and how to present. And I found that week extremely useful, and I've carried that with me in every job that I've had since. And then finally, for weeks 10 and 11, and the final week, it was leading up to a presentation where we would have to stand in front of all of our family and friends and present about what we'd done and what we'd achieved on this programme. And for the first time in my life, I was looking forward to public speaking, and I thought, I want to be on that stage, and I want to share what the difference this has made in me. I'm waking up feeling like I have a purpose for the first time in my life, and that was invaluable to me, and I wanted to shout about it as much as I could. And I did. And it meant that after I did that and I stood up, I was instantly offered a job. So I took on an apprenticeship, and I then was working for a partner of the Prince's Trust at the time, helping other young people in the programmes and supporting them. And I got a great rush from that because I was passing on what I'd experienced to other people in similar situations. All these talented young people that had been forgotten about for the longest time, we had the opportunity to give them that chance. And that is what I really enjoyed. So after that year finished, I then was actually offered a job working for actual Prince's Trust on their finance team. And I came to their head office in London, which was my first London-based job. And I, within 6 months, was then promoted to a role higher in a different team, which was the fundraising team, which was something else I really, really enjoyed. And that progressed into public speaking, so I then became the Young Ambassador for the Prince's Trust and started sharing my story to lovely people like you. And I had so many amazing opportunities from that I felt myself develop over time as time went on. And that is where I had the opportunity to speak to my current employer, which is a company called ISS. And what ISS is it's a facilities management firm that deliver cleaning, engineering, workplace services, catering to various London businesses and businesses around the world, really. We have 500,000 staff. And I'm now proud to say that I actually work for, or within UBS Bank. And between me and my colleague, we oversee an office of 1,200 people. And if you imagine, I came from that shy boy that didn't have a chance in life just 4 years ago to doing that now for an investment bank in London, you know, one of the biggest in the world. It just goes to show how much of an impact the Prince's Trust can have on young lives. So what I really wanted to just leave you with is that I want you all to get as involved as you can with this charity, because take it from me, I've seen countless young people, not just myself, benefit from the programmes that the Trust delivers, and I can't tell you how valuable support such as yours is. You all have the connections, you all have the routes that people could take into employment, and you all have that common goal of getting people the right opportunities, and sometimes that's all the young person needs. So please, just support the charity as much as you can, support Operation as much as you can as well, and thank you for listening.